Sometimes live TV can be a bad thing, and these celebrities learned this the hard way. So here's our list of the top 10 celebrities who destroyed their career on live TV. Now starting off, we have Janet Jackson. Janet Jackson was the Super Bowl performer in 2004. Now although being the halftime performer is supposed to boost your career as millions of people are watching your performance, the complete opposite happened to Janet, which was just unfortunate. Now during her performance, she brought out Justin Timberlake as a guest. He sang the lyric, "I'm gonna have you naked by the end of this song," and then he tore open her costume, exposing her right breast to 140 million viewers. Now in general, this is just embarrassing, but the media had a field day with it. Now the incident was referred to as Nipplegate by the media. The FCC received more than 500,000 complaints about the broadcast, CBS was fined $550,000, and then the NFL was asked to refund the $10 million that they had been given to the halftime show sponsor. Now this incident also affected Janet outside of the Super Bowl, as she was not allowed to attend the Grammy Awards that year and was forced to withdraw after being scheduled as a presenter. Then Janet's album was blacklisted by several radio stations and music channels. She was also then asked to resign from the biographical film of singer and activist Lena Horne. Janet issued an apology and said that the incident was accidental, but some people never forgave her for a simple mistake. Next up is Will Smith. Will Smith was a beloved actor, but the 2022 Oscars changed everyone's mind about him. Chris Rock was on stage presenting an award, and he made a joke about Jada Pinkett Smith and her hair, which her husband Will did not like because Jada has been open about struggling with alopecia. Now after the joke, Will got out of his seat and got on stage and slapped Chris. He then went back to his seat and continued to yell, "Keep my wife's name out of your effing mouth." A lot of people were confused if this was real or fake, but it was indeed real. Now due to this incident, Will was banned from the Oscars for 10 years, and it was unclear if Will's projects would get released or if he'd ever be cast again. He then put out a lengthy apology, partly stating, "Violence in all of its forms is poisonous and destructive. My behavior at last night's Academy Awards was unacceptable and inexcusable. I'd like to publicly apologize to you, Chris. I was out of line and I was wrong. I am embarrassed and my actions were not indicative of the man I want to be. I'd also like to apologize to the Academy, the producers of the show, all the attendees, and everyone watching around the world." Now this incident was all anyone could talk about, and it definitely slowed down his career. Now let's talk about Kelly Osbourne. Kelly Osbourne was a guest co-host on the talk show The View in 2015. Now this would prove to be a mistake, as she would never be invited back. Responding to Donald Trump's racist description of Mexican immigrants, Kelly was trying to make a point asking, "If you kick every Latino out of this country, then who is going to be cleaning your toilet, Donald Trump?" Now immediately after making the remark, the other co-hosts were taken aback and tried to stop Kelly from speaking further, but she continued, in the sense that you know what I mean. Now this moment was just embarrassing, but that phrase was then actually turned into a meme. Now before Kelly could continue on, she was interrupted by co-host Rosie Perez, who is of Puerto Rican descent. Rosie said Latinos are not the only people doing that, and Kelly quickly jumped in stating, "No, I didn't mean it like that, come on, I would never mean it like that. I'm not a part of this argument." Now this left a lot of viewers and the host shocked and disgusted. Kelly apologized for the whole ordeal, but it was just bad. Now Kelly spoke out about the incident in Rolling Stone this year and clarified her comments, saying this whole country is built on immigrants, and if you stop people from coming into this country who do the jobs that make this country exist and thrive and flourish, who's going to do all the jobs that you don't want to do yourself? She said now. It just came out so wrong. She also added, "It hurt a lot of people, and that to me is by far makes it the worst thing I've ever done. I realize that I'm not great on live TV, and that words are so powerful." Moving on to Steve Harvey. Steve Harvey hosted the 2015 Miss Universe pageant, but he made a giant mistake. He announced Miss Columbia as the winner, but it was only after Miss Columbia had the crown placed atop her head that Steve retook the stage, sheepishly announcing that he had to apologize. Now Miss Columbia had been the first runner-up, not the winner. The real winner was Miss Philippines. Now Steve said the mistake wasn't really his fault though, as when they ran through the show at rehearsal, they would only read two names, the second runner-up and Miss Universe. Steve said a last-minute change to read 3 names on stage the night of the show created the chaos. Steve said, "Well, in the teleprompter after I announced the second runner-up, the teleprompter said, and the new 2015 Miss Universe is," and the dude in my ear said, "Read the next name on the card, Steve." I looked at the next card, I said, "Miss Columbia." Fortunately for Steve, the situation provided excellent content for an episode of his daytime talk show, when a year later he invited Miss Columbia herself to receive a formal apology. Now after this, there were a lot of memes about this incident, but it's honestly just so embarrassing. Now we have Robin Thicke and Miley Cyrus. Robin Thicke had been in the industry for years, but he didn't become a household name until his song Blurred Lines in 2013. Now the track received a good amount of criticism for its questionable lyrics and its racy music video. But things really flew off the rails when he performed it with Miley Cyrus at the MTV Video Music Awards. Now Miley was trying to break out of her Disney shell and show people that she was more than that, but her performance rubbed people the wrong way. On stage, Miley ripped off her clothes, so she was wearing nothing but a nude bra and underwear. She continued to stick out her tongue and twerk, this time on Robin, and rubbed his crotch with one of those foam #1 fingers. Now it was a mess of a performance, and a lot of parents were outraged at the former Disney star. Now it immediately became an internet sensation and was widely criticized for being way too crass and raunchy. Now for a while, it effectively killed Robin's career, and the parents of Miley's fans were not impressed with the star. Then there's Fergie. Fergie first achieved chart success as part of the hip-hop group the Black Eyed Peas, but when she went solo, her popularity began to fade. Then in 2018, she was invited to perform the national anthem at the 2018 NBA All-Star Game. Now people were excited for her performance to see what she would bring to it, because hey, maybe it could revive her career. But her performance was horrible. Her singing was shaky and weirdly sensual, and due to this, people in attendance could barely contain their laughter, and the clip became insanely viral. She became a laughingstock worldwide, and she apologized saying, "I've always been honored and proud to perform the national anthem, and last night I wanted to try something special for the NBA. I'm a risk taker artistically, but clearly this rendition didn't strike the intended tone. I love this country and honestly tried my best." Now this seemed to be the final nail in the coffin of her singing career, as she really hasn't been seen since. But I can't blame her, that must have been so embarrassing to go through. Moving on to Sinead O'Connor. In 1992, Sinead O'Connor was a performer on Saturday Night Live to perform an a cappella rendition of Bob Marley's song, War. Now the track choice was a poignant one and was delivered as an attempt to protest against the mistreatment of children in the Catholic Church. It was intended to flip Marley's original war on racism and train its crosshairs on the mistreatment the church has been a part of. But during the performance, she stared directly down the barrel of the camera, and while singing the lyrics, "We have confidence in good over evil," she held up a photograph of Pope John Paul II to the camera. At the very moment she sang the word evil, with a flash of intensity, she began tearing up the photo into pieces, throwing them at the camera and stating, "Fight the real enemy." Now SNL had no idea about the stunt she was planning, because during rehearsals, she instead held up an image of a refugee child. Now following the sudden switch, NBC Vice President of Late Night Rick Ludwin stated that after seeing the religious protest from the singer, he immediately jumped out of his chair and the crew scrambled while the production team contemplated cutting the feed. Now due to this, she was banned from SNL, but hey, didn't she have a point? I mean, she was right. Now we have Mariah Carey. Now did this really destroy her career? Not really, but this performance definitely made a dent in it, and it became a new meme. On New Year's Eve 2016, Mariah Carey appeared on the Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve. Now this was a dumpster fire of a performance to say the least. Mariah's earpiece began to malfunction, causing her to go out of sync with the backing track. Being frustrated, she simply walked around the stage while passive-aggressively making excuses and complaining about the lack of a sound check. Now she didn't even try to carry on with the performance. The dancers continued their choreographed routine while the singer just pouted. Now while it wasn't her fault and anything could go wrong on live TV, it was definitely a bad look ringing in the new year. Anything can happen during a live performance, but Mariah should have handled the situation way better. Up next is Ashlee Simpson. In 2004, Ashlee Simpson was on the rise, and she was the musical act on Saturday Night Live that June. Now unfortunately though, her SNL performance did not go as planned. She performed her hit single, Pieces of Me, and it went well, but then she returned to the stage to perform her next song when the vocals for the previous song began playing while her mic was down down at her side. It was then revealed that she was lip syncing. She then did an awkward jig on stage and later blamed her band during the closing credits. She said, "I feel so bad, my band started to play the wrong song, I didn't know what to do, so I thought I'd do a hoedown. I'm sorry, live TV." Now this was just plain awkward. Her career never recovered as she was booed at her Orange Bowl performance in 2005 and her next 2 albums failed. Hey, maybe if she owned up to it, people would have had more sympathy, but she just placed the blame on other people. And finally we have Natalia Kills and Willie Moon. Now for those of you who don't know, both Natalia Kills and Willie Moon were judges on the X Factor New Zealand. After a live performance by Joe Irvine, the pair gave a harsh critique to the singer. Natalia accused Joe of copying her husband with his looks by wearing a suit and tie and slicked back hair. She said, "I am disgusted at how much you've copied my husband. From the hair to the suit, do you not have any value or respect for originality? You're a laughingstock. It's cheesy, it's disgusting. I personally found it absolutely artistically atrocious and I'm ashamed to be here." Now these comments were followed by her husband Willie stating that Joe was like Norman Bates dressing up in his mother's clothing and that he felt like Joe was going to stitch someone's skin to his face and end the lives of everybody in the audience. Now the live audience and the audience at home were not having this. Celebrities alike rallied behind Joe, and a 70,000 plus signature petition to have the pair fired from the show appeared online. Now in response, the husband and wife were fired mid-season. Well, that's all for our list of the top 10 celebrities who destroyed their careers on live TV. Now who on our list shocked you the most? Let us know in the comments down below, and don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. I'm your host Emily, and we'll see you next time. Peace.